These are 4 unexplainable Amazon forest stories that left Joe Rogan speechless.
I was very lost and very alone, and I was like on like day 6 or something of being lost. I don't remember. No, it wasn't that long of a solo. But I was lost and I was scared. And I was in a hammock.
How did you get lost?
Well, as soon as you leave the river, like you could literally walk 15 feet and then be like, I'm just going to come right back. And the jungle will, like Blair Witch you. Because it's all green. So you just like think you know what you're doing. Just last week, I took people, I wanted to cross from one trail to another trail. And I was like, I'm a guide, I can do this. And I came back out on the same trail like a half hour later. And I was like, yep, that's what I meant to do. Let's go. And like, it happens to JJ all the time.
Really?
You cannot find your way in the jungle.
Do you use a compass?
Don't use a compass.
Why not?
Because actually, apparently some of the iron content in some of the saps in the trees pulls the needle. It doesn't work really well.
Even the trees are trying to trick you. Oh my God.
GPS has run out of batteries. It's like you really just, you have to learn your bushcraft. You have to learn how to navigate in the jungle. And it's like, which is pretty much, you have to get just amazing at dead reckoning and remembering your course, because it's so dense that like we play with people. We go, go see if you can go from here to there. And it's like, they can't go there. They can't do that as soon as you leave the river. So like I had gone out on this solo, gotten lost, gotten scared, and then been like, oh shit, what if I just like into the wilded myself? What if now I'm gonna be the next kid that went and died in the Amazon? And like I like slept in the hammock, but this is like as I was learning, so I didn't realize that the hammock that I had bought had a mosquito net on top, but the back was not mosquito proof, so they could stick through. So my back was being destroyed by mosquitoes as I'm trying to sleep. And like a couple of nights of that. And so I finally fall asleep and I wake up in the middle of the night and I hear breathing right next to my face. And I like wanted to turn my headlamp on and I just hear like right here. Like I could feel her breath. And I was like 6 inches away from a jaguar's face. And she just like, and then left. And she just came in. She wanted to see what that was. She was like, you're not going to move. That's what you're not going to do. She growled like right into my ear. And then later on. But that one's cute though. That's a cute picture. That's a cute jag.
Wow. And they vary in colors and the spots and everything, right? Like some of them are much darker.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, actually somebody recently was like, where do you see panthers? And I went on this whole thing of like, a leopard or a jaguar, just like you can have albinos, you have a melanistic one. Yeah.
Wow.
So like people would call that a panther, but a panther's not a real, there's no animal that's a panther. It's like a Kleenex. It's like it's just another name for it.
That is so beautiful.
But a black
Look
jag.
at that thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
Yeah, in South India they have the black leopards.
What an amazing looking animal.
Look at the muscles.
Yeah, it's an amazing killing machine. And so humans don't get taken out by them?
I can only really speak for our region of the Amazon, but I haven't even heard a story about it.
Really?
Like no one. Our jags are just, we have like record numbers of jags. Like I think they're listed as near threatened, and we have like some of the strongest remaining jaguar populations in the world. It's incredible.
And you barely see them?
We barely see them. The last one I saw was 2 years ago. And some people like go their whole lives without seeing them.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because people walk off into the jungle and they don't realize. People, it's so funny living in the wild and seeing people show up there. And it's like people come and they're like, they smell like shampoo and cologne and bug spray and deodorant. And they're just like, if to an animal that has such better senses than we do, they might as well just have like sirens on them. And like, you are this shiny, glittering foghorn of attention in the jungle. And like every animal's going to run away from you. And so people are always like, how come you go out and you see so much stuff? And it's like, I only shower in the river. I live out in the jungle. I smell like they do. Like I'm out there for weeks, and it's like I'm not going and like shampooing my hair. It's like, and so like to these animals, like they know when you're coming. Like a jag's just gonna be like, oh, there's a human.
Do you wash with soap when you wash in the river?
I do use a biodegradable soap. You have to keep your skin clean or else you'll just get infections. But like for the most part, like my clothing, everything, like I don't use anything that's scented because of that, because I want to be out there and and just blend in. And that's whether I'm out in the field with elephants or whether you're out in the, in Africa or India or whether you're in the Amazon. I want to be sort of like included. I want to blend in. And so like not that long ago, I was checking a camera trap and I thought it was we had students at our research station at the time, and I heard like the leaves going, and it was like September, so the jungle was dry. And I turned around and I was going to scare this person because I was going to be like, who walks that loud in the jungle? Like, you have no respect. And I turned around with my finger up, and this jag walked right by me on the trail and just went, what's up? And just kept walking. And I was like, finger up. And I was like, okay.
Oh, Lord.
But I took that as good because at least I was, my like scent trail was so that he didn't know I was there. I could see it on his face. He didn't care. He was like, hey. But I mean, he was 6 feet away. He didn't even break his stride. He just walked by me and was like, yo, what's up?
They don't think of you as food, so they just keep moving.
No, and I think they're, with big cats, the mothers teach the young how to hunt, and I think they're so oriented, like with tigers, they're so oriented on horizontal, get the neck from underneath, break the neck from up top. And it's like when they see a vertical animal walking by, I think they're like, first of all, I don't know what this is. Second of all, it smells weird. Third of all, where do I even, you got to be desperate to take that risk. I don't think that lions are a different story, but with jags, with tigers, with leopards, I've never ever felt any fear being around a jaguar, like any fear. I don't even take pictures of them. I just enjoy it.
Wow.
I let other people take pictures. If I'm with people, I'll let them take pictures, but I will not lift my camera for a jag. I'll just stand there and
just take it in.
Yeah. You get to see them so rarely. I don't want to sit there finally seeing one and then put another screen in front of my face.
Right.
Look through some glass. Like,
whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, that's our camera.
They've started them. That's from yours?
Yeah.
Wow, look at that thing. Yeah. That is so majestic. What an amazing animal. Those glowing eyes.
Well, that's the crazy thing. You shine your headlamp into the night, and then when things look back at you, you got to wonder what it is. It's like,
well, when there's two eyes in the front,
there's two eyes in the front. Yeah, but sometimes the deer, but then the jags do this thing where they move their head like this. They try and see around your headlamp. They'll like do this little side to side thing. Like the deer, they'll just blink at you. They'll just blink, and so you start learning the eye shines. You start learning the, because then you can be out there at night and you look at something and people are like, oh shit, dude, it's a jag, and it's like, no, it's a deer.
When you were saying that the uncontacted tribe were speaking in monkey calls, what are they doing?
So, JJ's dad used to tell us, he said, if you're ever out in the forest and something doesn't sound right, he was like, get out of there. And he was like, because they will use the tinamou calls, like the undulated tinamou is like, but like, we know what that sounds like, but we also know what it doesn't sound like. And so like every now and then you'll hear one that's, different. And like we all get freaked out because we're like, that's how we do it. That's how JJ taught me to do it. Like if there was a bunch of tourists right there and JJ wanted me to come over and like chill with him and we wanted to go hang, he would just do that. He'd get my attention. And like, I know that it's not a tinamou, I know it's JJ. And so it's like, they've taken that to a whole nother level where they can communicate. And so there was a group of guys who was upriver and they got surrounded. They heard monkey calls coming from different directions, and they realized they were completely surrounded. And they, like, at least one of the guys who was telling it to me, he got in the water and like crawled like a turtle and like escaped. And then the tribe showed up, and then there's this whole showdown where they actually shot one of the community members, and then one of the guys who knows some of their language was saying that it looked like they were mad with the guy that shot the guy. They were mad with him. Like they were like, why did you do that? Now there's going to be retaliation. Like, why did you shoot him? And like there was like a whole discussion happening while these people were like huddled in the stream waiting to see if they got killed too. So it's like, I don't really, so when you get these loggers going in there, it's like, yo, we'll pay you to protect the rainforest, and like you don't have to do this. You don't have to be going into these areas that are that dangerous. So at this point now, though, through all of this, though, we've established jungle keepers. We have 50,000 acres. We're trying to do 300,000 acres. And if we can do that, we'll basically be helping to establish one of the largest protected areas in the Amazon rainforest, which will encompass these uncontacted people. And they can stay uncontacted and they can stay safe and do whatever they want to do in the jungle, guarding the secret pyramids and the giant ground sloths or whatever the hell it is that they do. But we're close.
Now, how many uncontacted tribes are they aware of?
I think there's like over 100 different groups across the Amazon. Wow. There's also varying degrees of, and the other thing is the conversation so often gets turned to like they're, violent, and they're people that live out in the jungle. And I have no idea how they do it either, because, at night we need headlamps. We don't have night vision. All the animals have night vision. So it's like, what do they do that night? They're able to make fire in the jungle at night every day. If I gave you an entire book of matches, me and you, we sat down right now in the jungle. I was like, okay, cool. You got a machete and a book of matches. First one to make fire wins. We couldn't do it. It's wet. Everything is wet. So how are they? What's their? Are they doing bow drill? What are they doing?
We don't know.
We don't really know. No. We don't know how they do that. We don't know how they stay infection free. We don't know what they do with their old people. We never see old people. We never really see children. And so like they move around, and we see like groups of men on beaches. We see like that aerial picture where you see like a family group out. That's in turtle season, where you have turtles laying their eggs on the beaches, and the tribes will come out because that's easy food. You just pick up turtle eggs and eat them. But there's so much that we don't know about their lifestyle, and like people get so many things wrong. Just if you leave them alone, then they won't kill you. If then people, they're Stone Age tribes, and it's like, well, they're not Stone Age tribes because they're alive right now, and you couldn't live out in the jungle, but they can.
Right.
So it's like there's elements of their botanical knowledge, their medicinal knowledge, their creation myths, their view of history. I mean, they're coming at reality from a whole different perspective than we are.
Wow. And there's really no way to get. Does anyone speak their language? Do we know what language they all speak? Is it universal? Do they have different languages?
It's not universal, and there was someone in our region who like captured a child from the Uncontacted, raised him in a very remote community, and people have tried, anthropologists have tried, they've been like, hey, so what was it like when you grew up? And it's like, it's dark. He's just like, I don't remember. Like no one's been able to get any information out of him.
How old was he when they captured him?
I think like 6. Like under 10 for sure.
Does he not remember? Does he just not want to talk about it?
I don't know. That's the there's all these underlying stories. Oh man, yeah. There's just then last year some loggers went to a place they shouldn't have gone, and they got whacked, and sort of like the like the WhatsApp underground in Peru, like everyone was sending each other pictures because one of the cops like sent to his family a picture of what the bodies looked like on like day 6, laying on the beach with arrows in them and shit. And it was like, oh my God. It was like this. It makes you stay in bed at night. You're just like, I am not going out.
Jesus.
But I mean, yeah, it's a complicated topic because there's people that want to contact them. There's people that want to leave them alone. And then of course there's missionaries that are like, they need the Bible.
What did you think about Lost City of Z?
I loved the book. Wanted more from the movie.
Of course.
Yeah.
There's only so much time and
yeah.
Hollywood fuckery.
Oh God. The book was fantastic, and that guy was out of his mind.
Out of his mind.
Out of his mind.
Yeah.
Percy Fawcett.
Yeah.
Percy Fawcett. But like the fact that he could go on those expeditions and not get infected. Mm-hmm. I've been brutally like. I'll show you this picture. I don't think there's any way of pulling this up, but like. The jungle just gets into your skin.
Oh, what is that on your face?
MRSA infection. It started like, mosquito bites, and then I would scratch, and then you don't realize you're spreading it with your fingernails. So you like go like this and shit. And so then, I almost died from that. Like but I was staying in the jungle to like take care of an anteater. But it's like,
how did you get free of that? Like if you're in the jungle, did you use antibiotics?
Go home.
You just go home.
I had to go home at that point. I remember I got to JFK, and the guy, he like looked down at my passport. He goes, yeah, what were you doing in Peru? And then he looked up at me and he goes, buddy, what the fuck? And I was like, I'm just trying to get it. And he like stamped it. He was like, go. He's like, go to the doctor. I can't believe they let me through.
Right. You could have been infected with some crazy plague.
Could have had like monkey Ebola. Like
yeah.
It looked bad. And I spent days in the hospital. Like it was really, really bad. But for Percy Fawcett to not, they would say like other people would be dying. There was somebody, I think the guy's name was Murray. He came from the Shackleton XP. He'd already been out with Shackleton, so he was like, I'm a real explorer. And he didn't last any time with Fawcett. Because Percy Fawcett was just like, you can't keep up? Go die. You can go die with the mules. Like, he just wouldn't stop. So my question is like, did he go out and eventually get killed, or did he eventually go out and like find the tribe that made him their king and just?
There's no knowledge.
There's no knowledge of it.
Yeah, no one really knows what happened to him.
And they said in that book that over 100 people have died looking for him since he left. Because then the other expeditions that have gone out, all of those have died too.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's like what it must be to just be in the Amazon itself as well, right?
For sure.
In the jungle, not just the rivers and the lakes or whatever's out there, but the actual jungle itself.
It was incredible. The jungle there. So we were in Colombian Amazon, and like, talk about untouched by people. There's been this kind of ongoing conflict in Colombia for many, many years. So we were the first Westerners to go there in over 60 years. So the village we flew into, they'd literally never seen white people before. And then we went 200 kilometers from that. So like middle of nowhere.
Did they want to touch you?
Yeah, hair. Because their hair was very dark and very different. And like, I'm not particularly fair, but just to touch like the hair and see the blue eyes and stuff, they were just
were they
loving
friendly?
it. Super friendly. Like, the culture was very stoic. Like, there wasn't a lot of smiling or crying. You know, there wasn't like a lot of emotional exchange. But straight away they came and greeted us, like shook hands, you know, said hello. It was really cool.
Wow, that's gotta be. Now, how do you set something like that up? Do you have like a liaison that like acts as a go-between between you and the tribes?
Yeah, so we did in this case have one guy who communicated. I speak Spanglish, I guess, and they all speak Spanish from back in the day. So we set it all up. It's part of the wildlife stuff that I do. We literally flew a DC-3, a World War II cargo plane, into this cocaine dealer's airstrip.
What?
And then that's how we got there. I mean, like, mind-blowing stuff.
Current cocaine dealer or former?
Former, yeah. Well, you know,
Who knows?
TBD.
It's still Colombia, right?
Exactly.
Wow.
So yeah, it was that one was really cool, really remote.
How crazy is it that they learned Spanish from people who came over on boats from Spain and it just stuck?
Isn't that nuts? And took over the whole like
region.
Yeah, the whole world. And here's
for
this tribe in the middle of the Amazon that has this language from another continent.
Well, and Brazil, right? From Portugal.
Right.
It's really incredible when you stop and think about it. I mean, it's incredible, but it's also part of it's a little sad. Like, wouldn't you have loved to have heard what their original language was?
Oh, absolutely.
Like what it sounded like?
Well, they did. So it's funny because when they didn't want us to understand what they were talking about, they would switch to their native Indian language. So they still they were bilingual, a community of 25 people that have never left, and they're bilingual.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Now, their native language is what? What is it?
It's an Amazonian Indian dialect. I honestly don't even, they might have said the name, but I don't recall.
What is the name of their tribe?
Also, I'm not even sure. They're so isolated, they're unaware of what country they live in. They don't even know that they're in Colombia.
Really?
Really. They're just like, to them, they're Amazonian. They're not Colombian, Ecuadorian, Brazilian. They're Amazonian.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So they just stay. Like where they are, they stay.
And the village we were in is literally, I think it's over 200 kilometers from the next village of 15 or so people. And they don't have fuel. They don't have motors. You know, they just in this pocket and they just subsistence live.
And they're all barefoot, right?
Yeah.
Do they have those crazy splayed out feet?
Big feet, you know, because
Yeah.
they're not very big people. They're like small Indian people, but really big, kind of useful feet. And the way that, you know, they could run up and down trees and climb stuff, I mean, it was unbelievable. Like, so much more athletic than you could imagine.
Well, I'd imagine, right? They've been doing that their whole life.
Their
right?
whole lives, yeah.
Now, when I say splayed out feet, what I'm talking about is that people that walk barefoot in the jungle for long periods of time, like their whole life, their toes spread out and their feet almost look like a hand.
Oh, no way. I did not pay enough attention. That might have been the case, but I didn't notice
Looking
it.
at their feet.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is kind of a weird thing to stare at dudes' feet.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, Steve Ranella, who's a good friend of mine, told me about that. He was in Guyana, and it's the same thing. And they actually got some pictures and videos of these people's feet. But look at these guys up there.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't notice anything like that.
Yeah. This is that's how do you say that? Horani?
Sounds right.
Horani, you think? Horani Indian splayed feet. So it's very strange. Like, it's kind of the opposite of what happens to women when they jam their feet into those little pointy shoes.
Right.
Where they get the toes kind of smush onto each other.
Ballet feet.
Yeah, it's horrible. Instead of that, they're all like crazy spread out. What in the fuck is going on there? The guy's
The
got
top
like
is hands, I think.
wood. Yeah, the top's hands, but the bottom is like wood feet.
But
Like
that's
wood.
that's got to be like what our feet are supposed to be.
Probably, right?
Right?
Yeah. Thick ass toes that actually have muscles in them that move.
That you can use like a tool, like your hand.
Yeah. So, and these guys just can climb up trees with them, so they grip the side of the tree with their feet like a hand?
Oh, I mean, I didn't notice, like I say, the feet just like that specifically, but the way they could, like, everything's covered in mud down there, right? It's all wet, it rains every day, and they could run up and down these tree trunks, like, to get up and down the village, and here's me and my crew with our awkward cameras and stuff, and we're slipping and sliding and falling over, and, like, they're literally like, what's wrong with these people? Why can't they walk? We must have looked like infants to them.
Right, and you guys probably have like boots on and shit that
Of
get
course.
muddy and fucked up and
Totally. Yeah, we're wearing, muck boots, and my one buddy's got waders on, and, we think we're all hard and cool because we got all this gear, and they're just like running around in shorts barefoot.
It is so fascinating when you see people that don't have contact with the outside world. Like, I'm sure you're aware of that recent story. The missionary was killed by the people on North Sentinel Island.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which is one of the weirdest places because they've branched off from Africa 60,000 years ago or something like that.
Right.
When you're around these people, like, what do they do if they get injured?
So funny you asked that because we kind of had that same question, right? And they don't leave. They stay in the village. They have a shaman at the village who blessed us with a crazy green powder, and that's a whole nother story. But they have a shaman, and he is their doctor. However, he has no access to any Western medicine. So it's only his learned knowledge handed down through generations, plus jungle powders and whatnot. And that's it. So we spent a day, because we had a medic with us, doing like kind of village help, if you will. Everybody had ringworm. Everybody had respiratory infections. There were a lot of lady problems in the village that our medic had to deal with. I mean, there was a lot of health issues, and you don't even realize it.
Write something down before I forget. I'm sorry, it's totally unrelated. But
No, all good.
There's a doctor named Peter Hotez that's coming on the podcast, and I have to follow up on him. When you start talking about the people in the jungle, he's an actual a doctor who is he specializes in infectious diseases in jungle and tropical climates, and he's like, everyone's infected with something.
Everyone.
He'd
He'd have a heyday down there.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's probably been.
Yeah.
But so when these people have ringworm and all these different infections, do they treat it? Do they have like some naturopathic cure or some shit?
I think it's kind of a 50-50. Like a lot of it they don't treat because it's just part of everyday life. Like when I say everybody had ringworm, I meant everybody had it. So I don't think there was any kind of treatment or cure. It was just kind of part of them.
Huh.
But other things, the witch doctor or the shaman was trying to treat. And then we kind of went in and we had like medication for ringworm, so we dewormed everybody, and with the shaman's blessing, and he was like super excited to have Western medicine in the village. And
Would you use like Lamisil or something like that?
I couldn't tell you. I think it wasn't topical. I think it was like a Vermox, like a pill that you take that kills the worms.
The weird thing about that is like, don't you leave and then they're gonna get it again, right?
I mean, there's only so much you can do,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, totally. That we were having the same dilemma, and it was like, do we interfere because we're from the outside world? Do we help? And we talked to the shaman through our translator, and he said, please help, please help. So we gave, including him, everybody this dewormer, but, they'll just come back.
Yeah, and also they probably don't understand the consequences of taking some antibiotic that's gonna do some weird shit to your whole biome.
Right. And
Kills
these are all
the good stuff too.
It's such a moral dilemma. You're there and you're like, I want to help. Do I? Is it helpful? Is it hindering?
Yeah.
Our medic was like, it's undeniably going to help. They need this. And so we went for it, and it was, it seemed to help. Everybody felt fine, but we were only there a couple more days before we left. So who knows?
Wow. Now, when you're talking about ringworm, like, are these guys covered in it? They have big patches of it? Like, what's it like?
Feet and legs had big patches of it. Yeah.
And if you don't know, that's the same shit that's athlete's foot.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, ringworm and athlete's foot are the same kind of funk.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's why people tell you to pee on your feet.
Oh, I thought that was
if
just
you
for
have
fun.
It could be for fun. Depends on what you're into. But I think that's the idea behind it, is that you're somehow or another you're killing the bad bacteria when you piss on your feet and you have athlete's foot. That might be horseshit. Maybe, yeah. With me, you always have to check. Yeah, definitely give that a little look-see. But it's a real common thing with jiu-jitsu.
Gotcha.
So guys,
just all the mats.
Yeah, it's real common. So just guys get it, and there's people really fuck up where they like put bleach on it and a bunch of different things to try to kill it, and it winds up getting worse, and also fucks up all the natural skin flora. Jock itch, athlete's foot, and ringworm are all types of fungal skin infections known collectively as tinea. They're caused by fungi called dermatrophytes that live on the skin, hair, and nails and thrive in warm, moist areas, the jungle.
Right.
So it seems like they're just going to get it.
That's just what it sounds like. But
what
still
do they
trying
do
to help.
for it? What do they do for it?
I didn't see them treating that at all. And when we pointed it out, they were like, yeah, we know about it. They were more concerned with things that were like dire. Like there was an infant, maybe not infant, maybe 3 years old, and he was hacking up a lung. And he was asthmatic, according to our medic. So our medic gave them like an asthma medication, and he just said, if he has an attack where he can't breathe, give him this. And to be super real with you, when we walked away, our medic was like, I doubt he'll live to see adulthood.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And were you giving him inhalers? Did you give him...
I'm not sure, to be honest, what it was that he left with him.
And what about like injuries? What if they break a leg or something like that? What do they do?
I don't think anything. Yeah.
Was anybody? I mean, you gotta think these people are climbing trees. They must
constantly fall, get bitten by stuff. There's tons of venomous snakes out there. It's wet, it's muddy, it's slippery. They're building stuff out of very rudimentary tools. I mean, it's nuts. They have to get injured.
It's so interesting that we have this understanding of medicine and doctors and hospitals, but that's probably pretty fucking recent.
Oh. Of course, yeah. I'll tell you a story, Joe. I was in Myanmar late last year, and we're down there filming this thing, and this kid, like 22-year-old crab fisherman, gets bitten by a crocodile.
Oh.
Croc grabs him by the arm, grabs him by the thigh, and death rolls. So it breaks the arm in 15 places, compound fracture, the real deal. I can show you pictures of it. It'll blow your mind. And we hear about this, and we're minutes away. It's kind of one of the similar situations where we're the first Westerners to be there in a long time. We go bombing over at high speed, and we get there, and the mom is off mourning the death of her child, but her child is sitting there still alive. Like they have written him off, and mom is literally mourning the death of her child, and he's lying there conscious, but in total shock. Fortunately, just because of the situation, we had a speedboat, everything else. We bandaged him up, tried to keep his arm stable and his leg stable, put him in our speedboat, and it was 6 hours by speedboat to a village that had to a hospital, really. And so he got there and his life was saved. But we asked the people in the village, what were you going to do? And they're like, there's nothing we can do.
Wow.
So he was just going to bleed out or go septic, and that was the end of it.
Ooh, what a fucking rough way to go.
Right.
Ooh. How did he get away from the crocodile?
I don't know. I think he was just hitting it or hammering on it. He was crab fishing in the water, and it came up and grabbed him, rolled a few times, and at some point he escaped. How he even got back in the boat and made it back to the village, I have no idea, because his leg was shattered, his arm was shattered. It was brutal. And it was a canoe, it wasn't like he had a little motor or a wheel to drive. He canoed back.
One of the most disturbing stories I ever read was these guys were kayaking in an African river, and the guy in front of them got grabbed by a crocodile, and that it went under, and it plunged like a bobber as the crocodile pulled him out of the bottom of the kayak.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck.
That's awful.
Imagine being the guy behind him and watching that
just
shit.
Just watching, yeah, and knowing that you're pretty much helpless.
Did you see any jaguars or anything?
I've never seen a jaguar. I've seen a lot of lions. I'm from Africa. I don't know if you knew that, but so I've seen a lot of lions growing up. My family did safaris, and then I've seen mountain lions here in California, leopards, stuff like that. I've never seen a wild jaguar.
Really?
Yeah.
Even when you were in the Amazon?
I think they're really elusive. I know there's areas that are hot spots. All of the locals were very nervous and kind of knew about them. I went out for bushwalks at night and stuff, and I'd just go me and one guy with a camera, and they were like, oh, be careful, peligroso, very dangerous, don't do it. But
Peligroso means very dangerous?
Peligroso,
Peligroso.
Danger, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so we just go, and I'm not trying to act like we were tougher than them or anything. We would love to have seen one, but they were very aware of them. So they were there. We just didn't happen to run into one.
Sort of like mountain lions.
Exactly.
Yeah. They say that mountain lions are, if you live in a place that has them, Wyoming or Colorado or something like that, they know where you are.
Right.
but
Right.
they might be around you all the time, and you might rarely see them. Like,
Exactly.
Maybe driving home, you see one skittering into the bush.
There was a nuts video, I think it was from the LA area. Did you ever see it, where the security cams picked up this mountain lion that was walking through this like very residential neighborhood, and you'd see like people would walk by, and then 30 seconds later he'd like dip out of the shadows and then dip back in, and then the next set of people would walk by and nobody had any clue he was there.
It's crazy that a giant predator can move around like that.
Right.
Yeah, so when you're there, like, what would you have done if someone got bit by a venomous snake or a spider or something like that? Did you guys have any anti-venom? Were you prepared for something like that?
I mean, that's my department, right? Like, as the wildlife guy, that's kind of my department, is make sure nobody gets bitten, make sure nothing like that happens. And we handled very many venomous snakes and caught anacondas and all kinds of great stuff. We did have, like, my main camera guy, his name's Mitch. He got absolutely lit up by these wasps one night, and we all were. We got like 12, 14 stings each. But I look back in the canoe at one point, and his eyes are just super swollen. He's bright red. He's sweating. I'm like, Mitch, you okay? He's like, His throat started to close up. He was having an allergic reaction. So we had to hit him with antihistamines, and I'm not actually sure if the medic administered the EpiPen or not, but he was like, we're in the middle of the jungle. We're 6 hours from a village that's then a full day's travel by a charter plane from a hospital. I mean, middle of fucking nowhere. And his throat's closing up. And that's why we take a medic with us. Thankfully, we had this emergency medic. He administered the antihistamines, and Mitch was okay. But these things do happen.
Do you ever, like, while you're on these crazy adventures, do you ever out there going, this is the last one?
Nah, never. No way.
Never?
No way, man. I love it. I live for it.
Wow. The story's so fascinating because now we know through the use of LiDAR that there really were complex cities in the Amazon.
Yeah.
Which is just incredible that the jungle just swallowed up all these very complex structures.
Yeah, it's funny because somebody sent me a video of Graham Hancock, saying how he was like, yeah, and he goes, the jungle's basically a human-made garden. And then, of course, I went and talked to, like, every scientist I knew because I was like, come on. And they're like, look, in the areas around the rivers, there were complex, there was no debating it, there were complex civilizations, sometimes larger than we think. But in those areas, you see a higher prevalence of like he said, like they'll plant Brazil nut trees, they'll plant, whatever. I don't think bananas were there at that point, but where there was some gardening happening. But what worried me then was then, like, Smithsonian came out and put out like an article, and they were like, is the Amazon created by humans? And it was like, oh God, no. Because like then you're changing it from a designation of like this incredible, complex, wild, ancient ecosystem to, if people don't understand the context of what he's saying, that people engineered it in places. And then the headlines went to, the Amazon was made by people. And then you have people like Brazil's president, Jair Bolsonaro, who's no longer in office, but just being like, well, if we made it, we can manage it, right? Oh. Let's go take it out. And I was like, oh God. I was like, be careful. I was watching him on your show, and I was like, oh, be careful. Because like the work he does is great.
I see what you're saying, but the implications of that narrative.
Yeah, and again, 100%. There are, dude. I mean, there's you find pottery in places, but it's always near the rivers. Like, there's evidence of ancient civilizations. You want to hear the craziest thing? One of my guys found a stone axe head. Now, here's the thing: the uncontacted don't have rocks. You won't find a rock on our river. There's clay. There are no rocks. They found a stone axe head in the jungle, at a site from the uncontacted. But what that means is that the uncontacted tribe had a stone axe head that they've been holding on to since like Inca times. Wow. And someone forgot it at the camp. And so you're talking about civilization carrying around something from a previous civilization that they don't know where they got it from. It's like incredible.
Wow.
Because you cannot find there are no rocks like that on a river. It was like a smooth gray stone shaped into like a blunt axe head with, so you could attach it to a stick. And they found this on the beach, and they'd been using it to like clean turtles. But we don't have those rocks. That's more like an Inca type of thing. So this has been floating around through various people's hands in the jungle for decades, centuries, who knows? And what do they think about where that came from? It's lost technology that they don't understand anymore.
So the thing about the Lost City of Z was that there was a previous expedition that had encountered these cities and these incredible,
yes,
beautiful, complex cities And they described how elaborate their clothing was and their culture, their agriculture. And so then when the next expedition went back, there was no one there because they had killed everybody with diseases. This is the the theory, right?
Yeah, and I mean, Orellana was the first person to like go descend the Amazon, which the thing that always drove me crazy about that was that they came down the Andes, made their way down the entire Amazon, and then like looked at the stars, figured out where Spain was, built a whole other ship, and sailed home. Like, think about that for a second.
They built a whole other ship.
You built a whole pirate ship and sailed to Spain based off the stars.
Wow.
And like now, like you look at us now, and it's like, are we smarter than that now? Like, how many people can find your way anywhere without like?
Well, what is
your
smart,
phone?
really? You know, what smart is your ability to use information correctly. Now, what information do you have? Like, they had information that we don't have because they needed to be able to navigate using the stars, and they didn't have to deal with the kind of night pollution that we have. The light pollution that we have at night it's one of the greatest tragedies about modern civilization is that we've blacked out one of the most spectacular things that you could ever see. The thing that really centers us and humbles us, which is the view of the stars.
Yeah.
I went to the Keck Observatory a few years back. I went last year, but it was really good last year, but not this one time. The Keck Observatory is in Hawaii on the Big Island, and you go way, way, way up through the clouds, and the view of the cosmos is like you are in a spaceship with a clear glass windshield, and you see everything. There's no light pollution on the island because they have diffused lighting for all their street lights, specifically designed so that it doesn't fuck with the telescopes. And so when you're up there, I'll never forget it. The one time that I went, which was at least 15 years ago, maybe 16 years ago, that one time was so spectacular that it changed my view of like Earth in the relationship to the cosmos, just by seeing it. Because you see the Milky Way, you see everything, you see all the stars. It just took my breath away. I couldn't stop staring at it. I was like, this is insane. And then I was thinking, God, this is everywhere. This is what the ancients used to see before we figured out electricity and blunted it all.
Yeah.
And ruined our relationship with the cosmos visually. Because that's what every city does. When you look up at the night sky, you don't see jack shit in New York City. You see a star. Oh, there's the moon. That's it. What is up there is literally the most spectacular thing that humans could ever witness. And it's there every night if you don't have light pollution and cloud cover.
So like you're saying, like it would be like almost like more stars than black.
You see
like
everything, man. You see it's incredible. So they're very careful at the observatory. There's no lights that get in the way of anything. So when you get outside of the building and there's just people lined up on the roads and on the hills, they're just staring up at the sky.
Because it's perfect.
It's insane. It's insane. It's so many stars. It's everything. That's what it looks like. That's literally exactly what it looks like. That is
with
the
your
Keck
naked eye.
Observatory. With your naked eye, man. It's amazing. But it's this understanding that that's up there all the time, and you can't see it because of light pollution.
But see, that to me is so much of what we're doing with nature right now, where it's like we're dulling it down.
Yeah.
We live in this incredible reality, and it's like we're dulling it down. Like in the Eastern Cape, where I've been working with the guys from VetPaw, like the elephants have smaller tusks or no tusks because of poaching. And it's like you're taking this incredible, monstrous, giant
So is
land
that a
animal.
natural selection thing? Like the ones that have smaller tusks are allowed to survive?
It's because they're targeted. Yeah,
Right.
they're targeted for the big tusks.
So the big tusk ones are getting killed, and so somehow in response to that, they're developing smaller tusks so that they're less attractive.
to the point that they're even having no tusks. It's like it genetically bottlenecked them so quickly because over the last 100 years, the humans were all going for the big tuskers, and now these monster tuskers, like the really big ones where they touch the ground, there's only a few of them left.
That is so wild.
And so and then moose, like in Maine, they have smaller antlers, and like we're actually like we're dulling down the magnificence of the universe. Like when you look at those pictures, you're like, why don't I see that? Picture if we saw that every night.
I can sort of understand that in a sense of like, I'm not an adrenaline junkie. Like, I don't go for skydives or, any of that stuff. It doesn't drive me. But that thrill and rush I get of, darting a bear or working with a lion or doing, swimming with an anaconda, like that fuels me for weeks. Like I get getting goosebumps thinking about some of them right now because I get so excited by, and it's not just for a personal rush, but rather, we're doing it for work or whatever, but those moments stick with me forever. And I sort of get that, but not like, I'm just going to risk my life over this climb or whatever, So
what are
it's
your
sort
thoughts
of different.
on giant anacondas? Like, because there's always been this thing about enormous anacondas that live in the rainforest.
So, yeah, there's fascinating. So I love anacondas. I believe, and I've got a colleague, Brian Fry, in Australia actually, and he has a similar belief that there are 30-foot anacondas. Now, 30 is a big anaconda, but you're talking about those mysterious, like 50, 100-footers.
Yeah.
Okay, so take out the Amazon and take out anacondas for a second.
Okay.
All right? Think about where all the largest snakes are in the world. Okay?
Florida.
Well, now, yes, but we've got all these wet tropical environments that house these huge snakes. In Indonesia, you have reticulated pythons, you have Burmese pythons, you have African rock pythons, Indian rock pythons, anacondas, all these big snakes.
Yeah.
The only place that has a wet, tropical, humid, high density of prey environment that doesn't have a massive snake is the Congo, Central Africa. Now,
Interesting.
stay with me. That area is home to some African rock python stuff, but not big monster anaconda size ones, right? But during World War II, there was a colonel who flew over there, and this was a well-respected colonel. I'm sure, Jamie, you'll be able to find this very quickly. A well-respected, I forget, he had his wings or his patch of honor or whatever, very distinguished, who him and his 2 passengers in the plane both reported a 100-foot long snake. They flew over it once. They're like, wait a minute, what is that? They were Dutch Belgium in the Congo. They flew over it once, went, what is that? And flew over it 2 more times to verify it and got so low to the ground that they said the snake struck at the airplane. And all 3 people, the pilot, this well-respected colonel, and the 2 passengers had the exact same story of this giant snake in Central Africa.
Interesting.
Yeah, and yet no big snake has ever been proven from there. But it's also a very poorly biologically explored area. And most of the time, when these animals get this big, snakes or otherwise, they're in very low, here's the picture.
They took a photo of it?
They did, yeah, they did. They're in very low densities, so. That's the real photo over on the left there.
What did they think it was?
They thought it was a giant snake, a 50-foot long.
So that's the photo right there?
I believe so. But the story's fascinating of these colonels.
But they don't know what kind of snake. They don't know if it was an anaconda or a python or.
It would be an undescribed species because the only snake there, the African rock python, doesn't get that big.
What is the biggest snake that we know? Oh, it says it measured approximately 50 feet in length. Saw brown-green with a white belly, has a triangle-shaped jaw and a head 3 by 2 feet. Oh my God, a 3-foot head. The photo was later analyzed and verified to be genuine. Van Leerd claims that, is that how you say his name?
I'm not sure, but that was the Colonel, Remy Van Leerd.
As he flew lower for a closer inspection, the snake rose up approximately 10 feet, giving a warning that it would have attacked a helicopter if it had been within striking range.
But imagine flying over and having a snake sort of lunge at a helicopter.
Imagine a 3-foot snakehead. Jesus Christ.
Jamie, do you mind going to my Instagram
Literally
quickly?
Swallow you alive.
Dude,
easily.
look at this one. I posted a picture day before yesterday. This is 18 feet, and look at the size of it compared to me and how scary this snake is. Now, to think of, like you said, you're like an M&M to a snake that
You're
size.
You're a Tic Tac. You're one of them chocolate-covered almonds that are so good for you.
Yeah.
Whoa, look at the size of that thing.
That's an 18-footer, and look at how,
God.
Granted, it's not 3 foot by 2 foot head, but still, that thing,
What's the weight on something like that?
It was over 200. It broke our scale.
Wow.
Yeah, it was over 200 pounds.
Wow. Indonesian villagers claim to have captured a python that is almost 49 feet long and weighs nearly 990 pounds.
I've seen this. It's not. It's not verified at all.
Do they have an image of it?
This might be the one that's on the tractor. No, it's not. There's a fake one on a tractor that
It's fake?
floated around. Well, it's just very forced perspective. It's like a wide-angle lens, and the snake is right in front, but it looks massive.
But this is NBC. This is NBC News. Let's see if it has images, this sucker.
So these are all like retics, and there are big snakes out there.
Look at the size of that goddamn thing.
Yeah.
Jesus. So, what is the biggest snake? Is it a python? The biggest snake that we know of?
So the heaviest is the reticulated python.
Look at the size of that thing.
Yeah.
How big is that?
That's big. It's probably 20-ish. So there's quite a lot of 20-foot snakes out there. And then there's a couple 21, 22s, but that's it. And so there's all these rumors of 30-foot snakes and 40-foot snakes and blah, blah, blah. And there's nothing that's been verified outside of one skin, I believe. I want to say from Indonesia that is but skin stretch. That's the other thing, too.
It turns out to be a tall tale. It says when Recreation Park in Indonesia put a huge reticulated python on show last week, keepers insisted to reporters it was 49 feet long, making it the longest ever caught, but the find turned out to be a tall tale.
Yeah.
So how big was it exactly?
I bet it was 20-ish. 21, there it is.
Yeah. 21 feet still.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's a big snake, man.
But not 50.
Not 50.
I have no idea why the snake has shrunk, said one keeper when asked about the discrepancy as the snake lounged on a tree branch inside the cave. But things do shrivel up when you catch them.
Yeah.
Like fish do. Like when you
The
catch
animals?
a fish. Yeah.
Well, definitely when you tell people about it, but
When you show people.
yeah.
Yeah.
I went fishing here in Austin this morning.
Oh, did you really?
Right
Where?
downtown, literally right in front of the Google building.
Lady
We were
Bird
pulling
Lake?
Lady Bird Lake.
Yeah,
pulling
there's a lot of
out.
bass out there.
It was awesome,
yeah,
man.
it's a great little spot.
Yeah, really fun.
Right in front of the Google building. That's
Right
funny.
in front of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the biggest in the world is the python, right? So they're bigger than anacondas?
So it's sort of a toss-up. The reticulated python has been clocked as the heaviest snake in the world because they get fatter, but the anacondas have been clocked in slightly longer. I think 26 feet is the longest ever recorded.
Did you ever see the Jennifer Lopez movie, Anaconda?
The documentary? Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
It's such a corny movie,
It's
man.
so good. The bad snake head if you watch it
so
today.
bad.
It's so bad.
It's so bad. But that was always the rumor, is that there was enormous snakes in the Amazon.
Yeah.
And that, you just didn't see them.
I do believe that there are some megafauna out there that are yet to be found, that are in low populations.
Like you believe in the sloth, the giant sloth.
I believe that has and again, that's like the thylacine. It's a proven animal. It's been 10,000 years, but it doesn't mean that it couldn't be extant in certain remote areas. Same with some of these big snakes. Maybe not 50, because maybe these things are embellished, but maybe 30, maybe 35, right? And I just think that there are a few, not a lot, of these big things out there. If you're one of these uncontacted Amazonian tribes, of which there are still several, West Papuan tribes, whatever, and you're seeing a 50-foot snake, nobody in the Western world, we're not hearing about that.
Right.
Like those things can be happening and those stories get embellished and passed on and all of that, but we wouldn't even know until Western science gets in there. And it's sort of a double-edged sword, because once it does, it sort of ruins certain aspects of that, right? So, but I do believe that there are big animals to be found still.